Joining me now from the White House, and our first on CNBC interview is Steve Miran. He's chairman of the White House's Council of Economic Advisors. Chair Miran, it's great to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I want to start with Apple. I know we're expecting this news just a little bit later here this hour, a new $100 billion investment. How much of this is new money dedicated to making products in America? Because we've had some analysts come on CNBC today and suggest that maybe some of this is repackaged investment that arguably Apple was already going to make.
Right. So I'm not going to get into the details of what any specific company is doing. That's not my job, and I'm certainly not going to front run the president on the announcement. But what I will say is that I think that what we're seeing so far is a renewed commitment to investing in America and improving the resilience of American production and the self-sufficiency of the American economy, which is a great thing, both from a jobs perspective and also from a national security perspective. So more commitments like this from Apple and from other companies is definitely a good thing for America.
How does the administration hold to account the promise of these investments, whether it's by companies or by countries? I think about Saudi Arabia or Japan, for example, with some of their pledges recently. What's the methodology to make sure those investments are actually being made and carried out?
Well, there's a lot of overlap in those two, right? And as far as the countries go, I think that the method to hold countries and the companies in those countries to their commitments is, of course, the tariffs, right? The trade deals the president has brought home, which have been monumental and an epic, historic restructuring of the global trading system, much to America's advantage, right? Those deals that the president brought home are contingent upon other countries, other companies living up to their terms for those deals. And if it turns out that the countries aren't living up to the terms they agreed to, then I would consider the rest of the deal to be something that would be similarly subject to revision.
So just to dig a little deeper into that, how much are tariffs spurring investment inflows here into this country?
Oh, well, I think we're seeing an enormous commitment to invest in the United States. And you see this through all the trade deals the president has brought home. We got $550 billion of commitments from Japan. We got, 600 plus from the EU. We've got more from other countries in the pipeline. I think what we're seeing is a renaissance by which other countries are deciding to invest in the United States. And by the way, the trade stuff is wonderful for that, but it's not just the trade. Let's not also forget about the One Big Beautiful Bill, including the full expensing on investment in equipment, in new factories, in R&D, and the aggressive deregulatory agenda of this administration as well to make it easier to build, invest, and hire in the United States. All of this is aimed at making the United States the best place on earth to do business.
Yeah, they all come together. So we just got the reports that NVIDIA's Jensen Huang met with President Trump today at the White House as well. Semiconductor tariffs are in focus, especially after the president said here on CNBC yesterday that you could see those implemented as soon as next week. What do investors and the business and tech communities need to understand about these tariffs and, to your point, this idea of reshoring?
So I think what everyone needs to understand about both of these things is that the president is very serious about them, and he has been serious about them from the very first day. And I think there have been lots of people doubting that we would go as far as we have in service of the United States and in service of putting the American worker and the American business on fair ground with respect to the rest of the world. And the doubters have been wrong, and the president has gone all the way, and it's delivered results.
So is this what NVIDIA's Jensen Huang was at the White House to talk about, these semiconductor tariffs, or was it something else?
Well, I wasn't in that meeting, so I don't know exactly what he was talking about. But, I think these are very significant issues, and you should have no doubt the administration is taking them very seriously with the utmost attention.
I want to get your thoughts on what we've seen in terms of the latest of the economic data. I know you were on CNBC late last week to talk about jobs report. I want to get into that, too. But ISM Services yesterday raised some questions about whether we're seeing the whiff of stagflation begin to emerge in the economic data. How do you see it?
Well, look, I think there's been no question about it. A couple of data prints recent past, the revisions to the jobs thing, the ISM thing that you just mentioned, they haven't been up to snuff with where we want them to be. However, I think that we have to understand that some significant headwinds to the economy have just turned into enormous tailwinds. And by this, I mean that we're finally getting clarity and resolution to some uncertainty associated with tariffs, trade, and uncertainty associated with the tax bill. Just a couple of months ago, people didn't know exactly where the tariffs would shake out. They didn't know about the investment deals, where those would shake out. And they certainly didn't know the United States would be able to avoid the biggest tax hike in history that would have sent the economy careening into a recession. Right now, not only is that uncertainty resolved, we know where the tariffs are, we know where the tax bill is, but they're turning into tailwinds with the significant incentives for investment in the tax bill in the form of the full expensing stuff, the significant investment inflows that'll be forthcoming from the agreements that other countries have made to invest in the United States and to purchase American products. And these headwinds are turning into tailwinds. So I'm very confident in the future of the economy.
I mean, there still are some big question marks out there, especially as it does relate to trade, whether it is deals with Canada, Switzerland, India, China, possibly Brazil. I realize there's a lot of heated rhetoric there, plus these sectoral tariffs, semiconductors, pharmaceuticals. So what does it take to establish more certainty around some of these areas for the business community? Because I'm still hearing a lot of uncertainty from CEOs, and we are in earnings calls, too.
Yeah, so I mean, I would disagree with that assessment. I mean, if you look at the trade deals the president has brought home, not including China, they cover almost 60% of global GDP. So we are succeeding in creating a new U.S.-aligned trade bloc as we restructure the global trading system, and the importance of that can't be discounted. If you include the Geneva Consensus and our arrangement with China, that number is going to be even higher, right? So there are some outstanding issues to wind up. We have to sort of finalize the deal with Mexico. I think things there are looking very promising. Canada needs to get its act together. I think Canada has decided that it would rather be similar to China and retaliate against the United States than be similar to the European Union and to Japan, to the United Kingdom, and come to a sensible arrangement with the United States that allows trade to continue to blossom between the two countries. So there are a few outstanding issues, no doubt about it, but by and large, the restructuring is underway and is looking great for America.
And finally, I just want to shift gears a little bit here because we do have this opening on the Fed board. President Trump saying he expects an appointment by the end of this week. Are you involved in that process? And I guess since this will have to go through a Senate confirmation process, could we expect to see that new nominee in the chair in time for the next FOMC meeting?
So, of course, I give my advice to the president and to everyone else, inside the White House about the qualities that I think are important in a Fed chair, in a new Federal Reserve governor, Board of Governors member. I think that this seat is very important to the president, and you can tell that from how he talks about it. So I think it would be premature to prejudge the process when it's still very much ongoing.